Welcome to DC Direct. I'm Lionel Donovan. Here in this show, we try to talk about some of the bigger stories, but we want to hear from you. So follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at TRT World. And use the hashtag DC Direct to let us know what you think and be a part of our conversation. In today's show, we're stepping out of DC to head to Tijuana, Mexico, to talk to the military veterans that have been deported from the same country they risked their lives for. Deporting someone after they've served in the U.S. military might be hard to believe, but it does happen. Many immigrants choose the U.S. military as a way to solidify their standing in the U.S., but one mistake can cost them everything. Hector Lopez was arrested for selling marijuana to an undercover police officer and was deported in 2006. Hector says he was stunned to find out that his nonviolent crime cost him his U.S. citizenship. What was going through your mind when you crossed the border for the first time and you knew that there was a strong chance that you wouldn't make it back home?
Well, it was hard to take because all the time they were bringing me closer and closer to the border. I was telling them, hey, this is a mistake. I can't be deported. I'm a veteran of the United States Armed Forces. So I said, I served for 6 years. That should count for something. They said, no, you're convicted of a felony. You're being deported. I was told that, my legal status had changed from a legal permanent resident to a national of the United States. I assumed that what greater allegiance is there than being a veteran of the United States Armed Forces, being willing to give your life to defend your country.
Hector's story is one that Robert Vivar has heard many times. Robert moved down to Tijuana to help his brothers in arms get the resources they need to adjust to their new lives.
Our primary function of the organization is to be a support system for veterans that are being deported from the United States. That's why we're strategically located about 40 yards from the PED West, the pedestrian west border crossing, which is also the deportation area.
As a deported veteran himself, Robert understands the shock that comes with having your life uprooted and being sent to an unfamiliar country.
You're deported with practically just the shirt off your back. And our veterans, in the majority, are persons that left Mexico or the country they were born in at a very early age. So returning to, for example, Mexico, they're returning to a country that, even though they were born here, they don't know. It's a complete strange land to them. It's like a fish out of water.
But how is it even possible for veterans to get deported? I mean, once you join the military, you're a U.S. citizen, correct?
That is what they were led to believe on many occasions. A lot of them were enticed into joining the military with those kind of promises by the recruiters. So they thought that at the moment that they pledged that oath of allegiance, that they were becoming U.S. citizens. The oath of allegiance is very similar to the oath of citizenship. And again, many of them were led to believe that.
No one knows exactly how many veterans are being deported, not even the U.S. government, because those numbers aren't being tracked. As a result, many veterans here feel forgotten. But residents in Tijuana are working with the veterans in order to make their voices heard. Enrique Chiu, a muralist based in Tijuana, is working with deported veterans to help them express themselves the best way he knows how, through art. Enrique feels that the veteran's story is unique in Tijuana.
They've been here before I am, some of them, they've been deported like 13, 18, 20 years ago. And they still have that feeling like they want to back. They want to fight for their rights, but they don't feel like their house is here, they're not from there, they don't feel they're from here. So they have a different feeling,
Yeah.
So that's what I liked to work with them, because they have a different idea. You can say like they live in border life, you know.
What do you think the veterans get out of painting the border wall?
Well, you know what they get is, I know the good feeling of doing something on this side. Everyone who is doing something at the border, we know for sure we're sending a message. That's what I use in the border wall for, like a big canvas, like something to express yourself, everyone is looking at Deported right now. So if you want to really send a big message or an important message to the world, that's the canvas you have to use right now.
In the meantime, Hector is continuing to fight to get back to the country he once proudly served. What do you think the government should do to address this issue? What does the government need to do to get you back home?
When I was being deported, I had a leg injury that bothered me for years. And I told the ICE official, I told him, because he wanted me to get on my knees, and I told him, I'm not getting on my knees, I have a bad leg. So he forced me to get on my knees, even though I had one leg stretched out. And I told him, I'm a veteran of the United States Armed Forces. He goes, well, so am I. You're being deported, and I'm going to deport you. I'm going to make sure you're deported. So when he said that, I knew that we didn't have a chance at the lower level. So I knew we had to fight it at the higher level. So that changed our focus and made us focus on congressmen and senators. And I knew that by focusing on congressmen and senators, that would be the only way that we could change it, by changing the law.
Well, that's all the time we have today in DC Directs, but please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at TRT World. And use the hashtag DC Directs to let us know what you think should be done about military veterans getting deported. Until next time, I'm Lionel Donovan.